Matriculants ma-grade 12 samahle 2021 siyanamkela kwakhona funda nathi project siziqhubeka kamathatana nomsebenzi besosenzile i-second part le kwi-topic besike sayicoverage i-functions phaya sinyathele i-sketching sivelela imiqathango efuneka uyilandela. That means i-rules so sketch i-graph for x-intercept, y-intercept, turning point and all those things. Now we'll be covering graph interpretation, which is the second part yale topic. Uzonika i-graph ubuze questions based on i-graph yakho. So definitely siyazi ngamadoda, there is language for everything. So in this case kufuneka wazile language, i-language afuneka uyazile le, and izibhalele into sawuzidinga apha ngolu hlobo. Ezi steps njengoba sizibhalile ezi steps zi-aplya kwii-graphs zakho zonke, hyperbola, exponential, straight line and parabola. You'll find these things, so you have to know uba kwenzeka ntoni. I'll quickly nje take some few minutes and explain uba kwenzeka ntoni. I-graph yakho, whether a parabola, straight line or any graph, in an equation, and this equation normally is always y equal to, maybe y equal to mx plus c, that is the name of the graph. Maybe f of x equal to x squared plus bx plus c, that is the name of the graph, because by these equations we can see, but okay, parabola le, exponential le, hyperbola le ya. So ithi lento i-graph ne-graph ine-equation yayo, andizuzibhala zonke ke madoda. So i-equation yakho funeka siyi-understandile. Also i-equation iyathetha madoda, the number of unknowns, u-x no-y basoloko bekhona Cartesian plane, so ayizo unknowns eziya. Unknowns endinazo, for example kwi-straight line ndino-m and c. So ithi lento i-number of unknowns is equal to a number of points that I need for me to find as equations, but we'll come there, don't worry. Secondly, sibe ne points. You have to understand ba yintoni function ye point. I-point yakho inikelwa ntoni? I-point uyinikelwa injongo yokufumana i-unknown kwi-equation. Once you see a point like this kwi-graph yakho, ithini lento? Ithi lento une-unknown kwi-equation somewhere. For example, u-m kwi-equation straight line, if une-point eyi-1, unoba awumazi u-n okanye u-c between the two. But if une-point enye, umniki u-m okanye u-c kweza equation. So ithi lento une-unknown eyi-1 ongayaziyo. So i-point zakho funeka uzi-understand madoda from the beginning. Once you-examine ikunika i-point enje, okay, I know there is unknown kwi-equation yam, noba exponential, noba i-parabola, noba si-straight line. Iphinde i-point yakho ibhalwe kanje. Ezi ndlela phaa masiziqhelile ezi, where you are given 2 is to p or q. If i-point yakho ibhalwe kanje, you must know one thing. Usually they like this language analytical geometry, but you have to know, if I know the value of x, which is 2, i-value ka-y andiyazi, ndizayifumana njani i-value ka-y? You need now equation. In this case uyinikiwe equation here, you have to use equation. Apha ufuna equation i-unknown equation, which we can say umzekelo ngu-m okanye u-c. Kuleni case untheni uyinikiwe equation, so njengoba uyinikiwe equation nje ufuna usebenzisa equation ufumana unknown also napha. Okay, coming to number 3. Number 3 zii-laws ze-reflection. Ii-laws ze-reflection madoda yinto efuneka siyiculile, yinto efuneka ibe lapha kuthi ngaphakathi, where sifumanisa uba about i-x-axis sifumana ntoni apha? Sifumanisa uba u-y wakho is negative. So if you reflect any function about x-axis ufumana u-y wakho enjani? E-negative, i-golden rule there. If the reflector about y-axis sifumana apha u-x wakho enjani enegative, so zitshintshana ngo-negative zoyi-2 ezazinto. Xa ngaba songena kwi-graph interpretation we need le information siyazile, because i-examiner izawusibuza ezi laws ze-reflection okanye i-apply le law kwi-equation, then ibuze uba yeyiphi le law setyenziswe phaa. So zinto efuneka wenze sure ngazo ezi, yi-language le that you need xa u-approacha le topic ye-function, which is graph interpretation. There is this part, distance between two graphs. So this distance uzonikwa phaya igraph eziyi-2. So kuzawela igraph phaa umzekelo zithi uneparabola, parabola yakho nanziya, and bakunika i-straight line, kuthiwe nguji lo, f nguji. But ifuna i-distance ekule ndawo, distance between f and g. What comes to your mind? Igraph yakho apha kule ndawo, igraph engasentla nguji, igraph engezantsi ngu-f. So between le point nale point, i-straight line singasentla apha, iparabola engezantsi. So for you to find the distance between two functions, it's the golden rule, my dot. It's what you have to know. I will make example, dt AB. So this is my A, this is my B. Iti lendo, I will say here g of x, because this straight line sum, which is represented by g. See above, minus f of x. In this equation, if I don't know the value of x here, I will find the equation in terms of x. Maybe it will be minus 2x squared plus 3x plus 4. It will be something like this, but it will be in terms of x, because I don't know the value of x here. Until there's the value of x, egu a obeng ban. Then if now I know doba, okay, point A 1 is to minus 3. Just making an example. So if I know the pointing A, I will take this A, dimfaka down x par, for me to find now AB. Because already from my calculations, so dimfumeno AB wam elingana minus 2x squared minus 3x plus 4. Then you substitute minus 2 into 1 squared minus 3 into 1 plus 4. Then calculator here. I'm just making an example. This is what you'll encounter. So if ever they ask you a question to find the distance here between two functions, just subtract from the above the below graph. They can also say upper, find only the parabolic function, not the exponential. To upper, find the maximum or minimum value. The maximum or minimum value, la question ungayiphendula nge first derivative, which is the turning point, okanye ufumane minimum by commuting the square. But I'll come back to this one. I wanted to first present this part. You have to know the language method. The language is eating a layer. This is a part, increasing function. Increasing function, what do they mean? The increasing function. Any graph or the inequal, no banga exponential matter, banga draw nje, exponential yakho. Or maybe hyperbolic function. Hyperbolic function. Ndifuna nje siyibone lena ba ukutya nje oku yasikunikwayo. Don't worry. Xa uthetha nge-increasing function, sithetha apha i-function yakho oqala yi-equation. Equation yakho always start by a variable engu-y. So when we talk about increasing function, that means increasing y value. So sijonga apha i-y variable mathela increasing function. So increasing function sijonga i-y variable, not x madoda. U-y lo sithetha ngayo. Ithi le nto I always advise ke abafundi. That is my own way of approaching this. I always start from left to right. That's the only way, and is bulala ngayo functions. Nobody go trigonometry, nobody go calculus, nobody go AP topic. I always use this technique. When you move from left to right, uy wam wenza ntoni? khawumkhangele lo y yabona uba uyazenyukela. So that means increasing function le just follow starting from the arrow to the right land igraph yakho ibona uba yenza ntoni. You see, ungayi-assume uda increasing function. No, we are not using assumptions. So kwetya ngumthetho madoda. So apha landela i-arrow yakho le kwigraph yakho ozayinikwa uyijonge igraph yakho yenzani. So increasing function le, also this one, increasing function, also this one, increasing function. Yabo, mhlawumbe funa ndikunika ne-parabol zakunika nayo uyibona. Minus 2 is to 2. Let's say this is my 4. So in this case, if I follow the parabola yam, the parabola increase from negative infinity to 0, because I've got a turning point there. 0 is to 4. So from minus infinity, increasing where? From x an element of minus infinity to 0. Yeah, increase the graph up. Then it decreases from from 0 is to positive infinity. So those are zinto madoda ekufuneka sizazile. So apha if you move now continuing with the arrow yakho uyehla ngoku y wakho uyadecrease. So from turning point to the right onwards decrease graph yakho. So that's the picture madoda about increasing and decreasing function. Nobu exponential, nobu calculus, in any type of graph use the same trend. Izakunika igraph yakho bayephi. So of course apha siyayidinga language yokwazi inequalities where we can say x is less than 0, because this is the same thing as this one. X is less than 0, x is greater than 0. You can use that technique, but we'll come to that. Okay, so you've covered this part. Now let's come to the most interesting part, the translation. Translation, kwenzeka ntoni kuyo? In translation, you will be given a function. That means the equation. I'll say, for example, you are given upper f of x, which is 2x squared minus 6. Just making an example. Then if they say upper, le graph le horizontal 2 units to the left, then left low, then vertically 2 units upwards. Just making an example nje. Ithi lento kukho shift yakho yenziweyo apha ku x no y. Kukho into endifuna uyi-understand ke. If you are shifting kwi-x axis, you have to know one thing. Kwi-x axis, if you shift a right, so i-right shift yakho siyipresenta ngo-minus p in the equation. If you are right kwi-equation ufaka minus, but kwi-point now ku-positive lo p kwi-point yakho. I-left shift yakho ingubani yona? I-left shift nayo siyipresenta ngabani? Ngo-plus sign p in the equation. So ngo-plus kwi-equation, but kubani? Ku-negative p kwi-point. Sikhumbule ke madoda, i-point is in the graph. So apha siyinika i-equation. For example, let's apply the information up. Siyinikwe le equation, let's add pi point yethu, and 2 is to 6. Okay, 2 is to 8. So ndinikwe equation yam and a point. Le point izoba segraphini uzoyinikwa pha, like ibe yipoint epha like la 4, la 0 is to 4. It will be on the graph, please bit. Ungazuyi-estimate le point izoba pha egraphini phezulu. Okay, So in this case, we are given a point and equation. So equation yam ndiyakutranslata 2 units to the left. Oh, so ithi le nto ndinabani up ndino f of x equal to bani, equal to 2. If ndiye left apha ndine rule at if ndiye left kwi-equation ndifaka plus, ndine equation f of x is the equation, so ndifaka bani plus squared. Then ndiphinde futhi ndishifte le graph 2 units upwards. That means ndiyafaka to y now plus 2. That is my equation, which I can say now is no longer f of x, can't be f of x now. Okay, let me apply exactly what I did. So f of x plus 2, yeah, that is the case. So the shifted the graph 2 units to the left according to this, because no plus up. Then I shifted 2 units upwards, which is my y value. But what about the point? In my point, benaban, 2 is to 8. So if we shift the point now 2 units to the left, it lendo zafika ndibeno 2 pa, because left wam ku point ungban negative. So 2 minus 2 y wam abengban abeng 8 plus 2. So a new point yamen nayo up is about 0 is to 10. That is my shift. So if le nto ndiyenza kwi-point yenza ngolu hlobo madoda. If ndiyenza kwi-equation yenzeka kanje. Noba unganikwa i-hyperbola, noba unganikwa i-parabola, noba unganikwa exponential, you do it this way. So this is the food madoda that we need xa sihamba le ndlela siyihambayo. Okay, coming to the second part, you will also be given kula f of x kuthiwe yithi transformation unikwe f of minus x. So i-transformation yenzeke pha benino f of x. Now x wam unjani? U-x wam is negative. I know ntoba if the reflector about y-axis u-x wam u-negative. Made a mistake here. So x wam u-negative. If the reflector kwi-x-axis y wam u-negative. So in this case, what affected my x? Why x am negative? There's only one thing affected x pa. Indone is the reflection about y-axis. That's the only thing that can affect x wako. The same method. Even if kuthiwa minus f of x. So translation ends the pa se reflected now f wako about x-axis, because kaloku akho nto inamenza y abe negative ingeyongo a reflection about x-axis. So that's how it is. And also it depends which type of graph, but this is the main reason yokuba y wako abe negative and phaya x wako abe negative. So that is the basic background of all this. Now we are going straight to interpretation, analyzing graphs zethu one by one. Thank you very much.